What is up, assholes? Welcome back to Call to the Fanleys. This week in fan league history, whatnot stuff. Multiplex has their round two of the Warzone tournament going underway with Jake Mangoni versus Thomas Deans, was dropped earlier today. Feel free to check that out, as well as Michael Campbell versus Nazario Montenegro, as well as round one of the Fandom tournament, also going underway with Dominic Grizzly versus Mark Meyer and RJ versus Amaru Moses. Both of those matches are very much worth checking out, as well in Full Metal, where you had Joe Harrison and Joe Farrelly beating the team of Top Guns. Good job, both of you. But we're actually also Eli McKeag versus Nicholas Tuig also dropped. However, I want to introduce someone special. You know him as the man who makes me shit my pants in fear I might have to play him one day. I did play him for all of 2 seconds. That went well. It is the number 2 ranked seed in Multiplex Warzone division, as well as I believe the number 3 or 4 seed in the Full Metal singles division is one Mr. Brian Michaels.
Hello. I'm not used to making people shit their pants, so this is new to me.
You're welcome. I do want to focus on one thing though, because I brought you on because as we all know, last weekend Multiplex Turmoil dropped, where again I faced you for about 2 seconds. And spoilers for any of you guys who haven't seen that, you went all the way.
We did.
You went in the first set, and you went through, and you went to the end match, and you won by TKO.
That was fun. I mean, we first of all, we're just happy to play again because in Full Metal we're basically sitting out waiting until Steve's gonna be our next title defense over there, and so Multiplex, we're not in the tournament there, and so I did the Turmoil thing, and so we're happy to just play, and then we found out we're number 2, which it's a double-edged sword because it's more fun to play as long as you can instead of just like come in for one round, but at the same time it's the hardest path to win, but. We took it all the way to the end. We ended up going up against Caleb and Zach and won for the next title shot. I think it just goes to show with Joseph and I how we balance each other out so well. I mean, a lot of people pick their team partners and they pick people like their friends or whoever who are very close in tastes. Joseph and I could not be more different. It's like his areas of strength and interest are ones that I don't know well, and mine are ones he doesn't know well. So it all balanced out well for a team match.
Yeah. How did you guys come to first meet up? Because again, I'm very dumb in family history, so I don't know these things as well.
It's all Sandy actually. I had only just started in the trivia community really, and I was doing Full Metal. I did some classics. I think I might have had a single match or two. And then Sandy messages me and said, hey, are you interested in playing in teams? Because I got, somebody else who was looking to play in teams and needs a partner. And he says, oh, it's just Joseph Oliva's guy, who I had never played. I had never watched him play. I mean, I might have seen him in a classic, but not even realized who he was because I didn't really know anybody at that point. And so I was like, sure, I want to play teams. Why not? And he's like, oh, because I think you two will be perfect together. You two will do well. And so that was he put us in contact with each other, and we're like, sure, let's try it. And there it goes.
Yeah, it's funny. Like you got your Sam Levine, your Dream McQueen. It's like, oh yeah, sure, they're cool. Why not? And just throw them together, and that everyone's dead. Yeah, they just
I mean, I don't know if he knew that our taste and balance, but I don't think he did at that time because they knew that we were both pretty good, but I don't think he knew that how well we balanced each other out. I think that was just a matter of luck.
When about was this?
When?
Yeah.
Let me see. This had to have been, I don't know, it was a year and a half ago. It was like the end of 2018, I want to say.
Oh, so you guys, I always thought you guys have one of the old mainstay legendary teams.
No, both leagues have been going because I know Multiplex was already going at the time. I think they had already been going for a while because when I started out, it was Jessica Morgan was still helping run that.
Yeah.
Tim Smith was really still involved in that. So yeah, I don't know the exact time, but it was I want to say late 2018.
Right, and now this all led to a head where you come and you do this. What kind of prep work did you do for this?
Really, for a tag team Turmoil kind of match, you can't. I mean, Joseph and I, when it comes to our team matches, we actually tend to do our own thing. We don't. I mean, we communicate and kind of come up with strategies and that, but we don't really study together. He likes to do it his way, and I kind of do my thing with some people that help me train. And but we study hard for, like, if we have a list of movies or strengths or things like that. But Turmoil is like basically a giant classic. It's any questions from anything. You can't prep.
Yeah.
I mean, all you can really do is what I always do, which is watch lots of movies and pay attention when I do. You can't really prep for something like that.
Yeah. I know, like I know from my prep. I heard who the writers were. I'm like, okay, Jake and Michael. So I sat down and watched Donnie Darko 5 minutes before the match, and then I crammed every sports movie I could. I was like, okay, I came in prepared. My sports movie question was, what
Yeah,
sport is played here?
it's hard. It's like when somebody picks a strength of, like, horror or comedy or something like that. It's like, yeah, you can try and watch some and get some information, but the chances of you happening to watch the right movie they're going to ask about and know the questions they're going to ask about is so slim. It's hard to study for something so broad.
Or you can just make vague posts on the Facebook page to try and like learn information from the masses.
I would never do something like that.
No, never. And then like, okay, I want to know your mindset coming into that last match, because I have every team written down on here that you beat. I'm just gonna go through some of the big ones, because you went a long way with Light It Up. You got, like, they were aiming for to be the MVP for a bit.
Yeah.
And then you hit Clash of Demon Head, Cult Classics, Con of the Dead, Jurassic Sharks. The time you went out, you met Boatman, and more importantly me, but you met Boatman. And after that, you go through Pain and Gain, the new team of Jacoby and Aaron, Fuck You, Lucas, and Blockbuster, and it comes down to you and Joseph versus Bombardment. And just to explain for everyone who hasn't seen the match yet, but you should, at the end of it, they play in just a regular 3-round Warzone match with no strengths. The wheel is just general categories.
Yeah, there was it was supposed to be the winner of the Turmoil was going to go up against whoever lasted the longest in the Turmoil. They were going to face each other in a regular match to see who's going to get the next title shot at Mayhem at Multiplex. And it turns out we got both, which I thought we had a good chance of winning. But when we came in so early, I thought, well, maybe we'll have a shot at the longest one instead. And we ended up getting both, so they gave it to the person who lasted second longest, which was Caleb and Zach. And yeah, by the time we got into that match, though, because like you said, it was just a regular match, but there were no strengths or anything, so we had no prep for anything. There's the categories they came up with is what it was, and yeah, it came down to the end there, and we pulled it out. So
yeah. So now you come into facing Jake and Michael, I aforementioned Concept.
yeah.
Have you had how long? Like, have you had a team's title shot in Multiplex yet? Because I know in Full Metal you guys are the defending champs, and
No, in Multiplex we've had a string of really kind of bad luck. In Multiplex we were on our way to a title shot in the first team tournament, which was and we lost to Blockbuster Video. Now it was like basically the last match, the last tournament where they decided to have that thing in round 3 where you'd also lose a point if you got a question wrong, and if that didn't exist at the time, we still would have won. But it was not excuses. I'm just saying that is, if that rule had been different, then we would have still won and moved on. Then the next time, this past year, we were in another tournament, and Joseph unfortunately had a ton of school stuff and things going on right at the time we had one of our matches. So he basically said he can't make it, and we tried to get it pushed back, but because they're on a really tight schedule because they want to keep everything going and everything done in time, they weren't able to postpone it. So basically they said, we can't postpone it. If you want to get a new partner for the rest of the tournament, you can. And I tried that. Clearly didn't work, because this is literally 18 hours before the match. It's like the middle of the night, and I'm messaging people, and I message Jacoby. He's like, "Sure, I'll give it a shot." And we're like, it's better than just forfeiting.
Yeah.
So we played it, and it didn't go well. Yeah. So then to have this give us basically another shot to finally get a title shot in Warzone is nice.
I feel the issue, because I know, like, my thing is Abby was getting hit with that tornado like 20 minutes before the match, and I was blowing through every DM possible. I got to, like, you know what, Red Show, we're team in MTFO, not really, because that never happened. Let's do it. Like, sure. So then I just sort of dragged him down with me, but we got 2 wins, so at the very least I did something.
Yeah. Did pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jake and Michael's quite intimidating. I mean, I'm trying to think if I don't think I've played either of them in any kind of singles environment. I might have been, in my classics, and then actually, like Jake was one of the people in the Full Metal Classic finale championship thing, whatever, with me. But I really think I only beat him that day because he had like 3 other matches to study for, and they were more important, like real title matches. So this was his bottom priority.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really gotten to play either of them as a team or individually, but they're both very intimidating. So I'm hoping me and Joseph, between the two of us, can put us over the top.
Yeah. Like, not to discount Jake, he had 3 belts all at the same time. Like, that was a big moment for him.
Yeah.
But I think it is interesting because right now concept is sort of like hot potatoing the team's belts because it went from I forgot who they took it from. But
It's even from Queller and Eames.
No, because they won
Initially.
somebody, then it went to concept, and then it went back, and then it went to second real.
Because
Then it went back
Apocalypse
to
Now
concept.
had it, didn't they?
Right? Yeah. So Apocalypse Now. So they took it from Apocalypse Now, or was it 80s? One of the two. Either way, they got it, lost it, they got it again. You could just keep the trend going. You could start that secondary rivalry with Jake and
I would
Michael.
love to keep that pattern going, except for the fact that I don't want them to win it back from us. So,
Yeah.
but even then, just to be able to get that one and be able to hold the title in both leagues at the same time, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Also, but there is also a possibility that you could face Michael Campbell because in this multiplex singles Warzone tournament, you're facing Mark Menchaca pretty
I
soon, and then
am.
after that, you face the winner of Andrew James Barr and Michael Campbell.
Yeah, so it's possible, and even if you get past Michael Campbell, on the other side, I could end up facing Jake after that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I might have many opportunities to face these people. At the same
There's
time,
just
also, I'm actually really happy over in Full Metal. I have a chance where if I can win my match there, I can have a chance I could actually face you off against Joseph for the title, singles title.
yes.
And that would be awesome to have like the two
Yeah.
team champions at each other. But we'll have to see if that happens or not.
I always find that the most interesting because, like, on top of that, I'm pretty sure the singles title is still vacated, right? After Jeremy
I
retires.
believe that it is, yeah.
Yeah. So it would literally just be you two fighting for the title, and then like a week later, you two defending the title.
Right.
How do you feel? Like, I'll start multiplex because we started there. How do you feel in this multiplex tournament? Because you've had some interesting matchups. You've had Mark Kmeyer, who you almost faced in Full Metal. And you go to Caleb Coho, who you had a lot of choice words for. He also had a lot of choice words for you. You and Mark both know how to read, evidently. And then you come against Mark Menchaca, who is also like rookie sensation, even though I hate that match against Redshaw. But like I think your multiplex, I think your like singles Warzone arc is interesting. Because I feel like, especially when we did the breakdown, everyone had these like, oh, this is where they could lose. Like I famously said that Holtzman could beat Jake Marangoni at the 8 versus the 1. And then I just said, like, fuck it, Brian just blows through it. I don't know if you've faced these people before. This is like a really like interesting step in your career, it seems.
It's interesting because I feel like I do really well in these tournaments and things, but I rarely blow anyone away. There have been so many matches where I've only won by like it's gone to the last question or maybe two questions left or something like that. So I really I've said it many times in like post match interviews. On any given day, anybody can win based on the wheel, the spinner's opponent's choice, and you never know what's going to happen, things like that. And then in round 3, you never know what's going to be a 4-point question and not. So you don't take anything for granted. So I haven't. I mean, even in like first round matches where you're playing like lower seeds, like I played Mark Kmeyer, I had to take him seriously because he's. I mean, yes, he's been hit and miss. He's had some wins and losses, but he's still a threat and still took me into the final round. And then Coho is Coho. I actually no, I have nothing against Coho. Coho's actually a really nice guy. He likes to talk. He likes to do the whole putting on a show for everybody. So you got to play into that. But at the same time, as I've said before, he's also one of the most improved. I think he's decided to take it seriously, and he's like really, really improved. And he brought me down to the end too. And really, that was a matter of one question to decide that match.
Yeah.
And then Mark's next. Menchaca is going to be next, and the new ones actually scare me more because I don't know much about them. They I've seen these people in like maybe like 2 matches, 3 matches tops, and you can't really get a feel for what they do and don't know real well.
Yeah, I will say I do think it's very interesting because if you look at Mark, but because I helped prep Red Shot for the match, it was like, oh, this man is not impressive. He missed like who directed. I forgot what it was. He directed. He like who directed the classic movie, and he just was way off. It's like, okay, we can prep for this classics, cover it, and then just watching his game tape since then has been like I don't know what kind of fucking juice that Cody's giving him in the little study first order dungeon, but that man has improved rapidly.
Yeah, yeah. It's I've done the same thing when I go back and like try and watch their matches and actually keep track of everything they got right and wrong and try and find trends, of which categories they might or might not be good at. And I couldn't really find much with him. I mean, yes, he missed some questions, but I couldn't find any like glaring holes or trends or things to focus on.
Yeah.
So it's again, it's just because of newer people, you got less game tape. So
yeah. And so then we jump to Full Metal, where it's again this place sort of like your bread and butter. You are the defending team champion, and then you jump into the singles tournament. I'm gonna pull this back up so I should know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so how did your last season end in singles?
I want to say I think the last time was it was the tournament, I believe, and I made it all the way to the semifinals, and I lost to Kirk there. I think I lost to Kirk. Yeah, because Kirk went on to face Jeremy over there, which I actually didn't mind because I don't know if anyone remembers that match. Jeremy destroyed Kirk. I mean, and Kirk's a great player. I don't know if the questions just went Jeremy's way or what it was, but Kirk got like annihilated in that match, and I'm kind of glad that Kirk beat me after I saw that because I probably would have done about the same as him, and he saved me the embarrassment. So, so it's nice to have a chance to try and work my way back to it again.
Yeah, because currently you are the number 4 seed in Full Metal. Kirk being 1, all of us being 2, and Standy being 3. So, first match against Jeff Varyu was a really tough one. I think Varyu being 11 is sort of a surprising, or no, not 11, 13. Varyu being 13 is an interesting for me because he's always someone who, and like I can say in the teams tournament, which I am playing against Caleb Coho in, so Brian, we have a shared enemy. There's a chance I might face Jeff, so I'm always thinking like, how is that going to go? And Jeff is someone who just really scares me in Full Metal. And then after you face him, you are lined up to face Jacoby, who brief second your team partner, now your fandom team partner.
Yes.
And then you could face Kirk again in the semis.
Yeah. I'm hoping to not fall in the same place and actually get past that hurdle because I've never had a Full Metal singles title shot. I've always done well. I'm really in both the leagues. I seem to have this gatekeeper status where I'll do really well, but then I never kind of get that title shot. I finally got a title shot in Warzone last year, but I lost to Jeremy, of course, there. And then so now I'm trying to get back to it in Full Metal as well. So.
Yeah. So and just sort of like more like a retrospective view on things currently. Like you're the 2, you're the 4, you're going for a title shot, you're defending your title. Like how does that make you feel? Because like you are that top ranked teams player, you're one of the best. And then when it comes to singles, you're always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Well, I think. Hang on a second. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I shrunk the tab. Okay. I think it's a little frustrating on the single side, but I think it just goes to show why our team works so well because I consider myself a good player. I clearly have not been able to get the championship yet in singles, but I think that's why the teams work best is because the places where I'm not as strong, the things that may be keeping me from becoming champion, Joseph kind of is able to fill those gaps and kind of make that up. And me, the same thing for him. But it's always nice to be at least a contender still in singles. It gets a little much. I mean, honestly, it's right now we got so many matches going on. It's like a match or 2 a week, and it's getting kind of crazy. I kind of wish they'd have tournaments in different leagues at different times. But it's a problem a lot of people would love to have too many matches. So I'm not going to complain.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, I mean, I would like to imagine because most people in this league are my age, meaning like college age.
Yeah, and I'm
like,
just old.
Oh yeah, it'd be nice to be there during the summer where you don't have to do anything. Like I know, like I officially finished schooling like a few weeks ago, and it's like okay, I have time to study now. Fuck, I need a job. So it's like summer is just like, oh yeah, there's so much free time. Then you realize there's not really that much. Like I'm studying for fandom, and it's, oh, I just take intense notes about a bunch of movies I don't give a fuck about. That's great.
Yeah, summer's actually my worst time because my wife's a teacher, and so my wife and kids are in school during the year, and I work at night. So during the day, I can do whatever I want and spend time. If I obviously have things to do, but I can watch movies and study then. But during the whole summer, everybody's home, especially now with this quarantining thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's home all day, every day, and it's hard for me to find time to do my prep and stuff.
Yeah, but that's the reason. That's the reason we're rolling with. It's because fuck summer. That's the problem here. Yeah, I mean that was quick. Is there anything you would like to talk about? Because this is sort of just like an open field. You've got the space if you want to say anything.
Oh, geez. I don't know. You know what? I'm actually I'm looking forward to. I haven't been able to start there yet. I'm looking forward to starting in fandom teams with Jacoby.
Yeah.
We are America's Asses. If anybody has not already seen
As you can tell,
the team announcement. Oh yeah, I've got the shirt on.
Yeah.
But it's kind of thing where fandom I've always been intimidated by, just because I have a kind of a broad movie knowledge. But when it comes to like these fandom categories, they go so much deeper into these specific movies that I don't know as well. But I kind of thought I'd like to try it out. I think I know most of them pretty well, and I've been trying to study up on some other franchises and things I don't know as well. I thought I'd give it a shot, and then the opportunity to join teams came up, and Jacoby, Tony Heel decided not to participate in Multiplex anymore. So I thought, hey, Jacoby, why don't you come and we'll try it? And we haven't had our first match yet, but we're looking forward to it.
You're bringing back Brian and Jacoby's excellent adventure. Even after like your very brief stint in teams.
Well, even that, I think if we'd had more than 18 hours notice, half of that of which we were sleeping, I think maybe we could have come up with some more strategy or stuff. And then actually, the problem with that match happened to be that the strength we spun one of my team's strength, but it was the one that Joseph had picked. So I didn't know much of any of it. And Jacoby, of course, had nothing to do with the selection of that strength. So he didn't know any of it. And that's what killed us. But I think even if Jacoby and I teamed in a regular like Warzone match, I think we'd actually do pretty good. But here we are in fandom giving it a shot there.
I do want to point out, though, I think you and Jacoby are a very interesting team in fandom. And I'm going to try and get this stat shit up because I am very prepared for everything that I do. Is you look at Jacoby right now, just in terms of fandom, especially because like I talk with Coho a lot about just how fandom works and everyone doing it and projected wins and shit. I didn't think Jacoby was going to do all that great, but he is the number 5 ranked contender in fandom singles. He still beat Caleb Bowman, who has like top 5 accuracy of any fandom player, both teams or singles.
Right.
And he goes to face Nick Tuig, where he has a shot. No one should have a shot against Nick Tuig besides Thomas Scully. And then we come to you, who your last few matches you've been fucked by a certain individual. It's very certain individual. And if you look other than that, you're still, I think, one of the highest accuracy rookies.
That's what Coho was actually telling me the other day. It's like because I when I first tried fandom, I went up against Adonis Nazario. And I lost a close match there, and I will freely. This is gonna be my problem in fandom is I hate betting rounds in any league in any game. I hate betting because I'm horrible at it.
Bet 0 the entire time to say fucking move on.
I wish I could, but usually I don't have that kind of lead to take that chance. But it's like I always will bet high when I don't know the answer, and I also get conservative at 0 or 1, and I will have known the answer. So that always kills me. But yeah, so I end up losing that match. And then again, I played someone else who's not around anymore. Although I'm told that as a result that one's not going to be on my record. So that's good to know. But yeah, Caleb was telling me that I have like the highest accuracy out of people with, losing records. So
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to hopefully, fixing that.
I remember having this conversation with him a while ago, and I think it was even before your match against 626 or 625. You and Jake Marangoni are the 2 highest accuracies of anyone with a losing record, and you're both coming into this upcoming fandom teams tournament with like a chip on your shoulder. Because obviously Jake's last teams match was against 625. Your last team's match hasn't happened yet. So you have the advantage of, again, rookie sensation doesn't fucking touch fandom. Look what I can do. And you and Jacoby could be like a sleeper hit team.
I'm hoping we are, because I mean it's nice to have a chance to be the rookies again. Because like you said, I've kind of been around Warzone and Full Metal for a while, but I haven't been in fandom. So it's nice to kind of come in. There aren't really any expectations. If it works out, great. If not, people aren't going to think it's a big disaster if we lose the match. But I think that we have a good chance. Like you said, Jacoby's got a great record. I think I'm doing pretty well. I've actually been strengthening up a lot of my fandom weak points thanks to Warzone, because I played. I don't remember which was which. I think Jacoby, I played against him in the tournament, and he picked Wizarding World. And so I had to binge all those and study them hardcore and take notes and stuff. And then Mark chose Middle Earth, so I had to watch all those and study them and take notes and stuff. So just through people choosing them as strengths have helped me kind of build up for getting ready for fandom. So.
Oh yeah. So actually, I'm not in the same boat, kind of, but sort of. Like I've talked with, because like I'm with Bar pretty soon, and it's nice to just sit down and talk with him. And it's like, okay, so you're gonna come up against XYZ. Like let's say you play Michael Campbell. He doesn't study fandom. He doesn't play fandom. So if you want to put the time into fandom, put that on the wheel, he's at an immediate disadvantage. It's interesting because like all these great Warzone players might not play fandom. You have that back pocket. Oh, here you go. You don't give a fuck about fandom. 0 points.
And that's what people have used against me before. Is they try and throw these fandom ones. And like I remember one of my matches against I want to say it was Dominic Rizzi. He pulled out Harry Potter as his strength, and I was just like, oh. And that was one where I didn't have the time to really prep and watch them all and stuff. I mean, I studied what I could and did what I could, but not as much as I would have liked to. But luckily it didn't come up for me in that match. But if it had, it would have killed me. Because like you said, a lot of these fandom players, that's their secret weapon. Is like, hey, I know this really well, so I'm going to use it.
It's like why you're just like cooking dinner for your kids, just like, okay, guys, tell me everything about Harry Potter, and just like writing it down.
Really, my daughter could play the match, and she would probably destroy half of this league. Yeah. She knows them all real well. But
hey, let's just get to a point in the fan leagues where we just like bring in the next generation. Just like we got to find the Eli.
Shazam! No, oh sorry.
No, we need to get more Eli Boatmans. Not those kind of psychopaths, but just bring in the younger generation. Have like a kids league with Eli Boatman, co-host will assist your kids, anybody, and just like watch everything just burn to the ground.
Yeah, my kids would just sit there and roll their eyes because they think Dad's just doing his weird trivia thing, and I've tried to teach them well, but they haven't kind of grasped onto it as much as I would like.
I will say it's definitely an interesting perspective, because like my parents just walking on me, just watching Trolls and just taking intense notes, just like, what do we do to our kid? Like, are you okay? Something wrong here? The answer is yes.
I think my wife's just happy I have something to do. I leave her alone. She'll walk in, she'll see me like taking notes on something. She just kind of rolls her eyes and walks out of the room.
I went thrifting with my roommates at the beginning of the year, and it was like that was when the Schmoedown draft was happening, and I was screaming the entire time about Robert Parker got drafted. I lost my shit, and they're like,
first round
hobby.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, people get excited about far, lamer things. So
yeah,
everybody has a thing.
And we'll just pretend like this is a very cool thing, not lame at all. It
is cool. Well, I mean, it really is. I mean, if you had done, even just 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I mean, if you talk to people like, oh, we're having trivia leagues about comic book movies and things like this, and people be like, oh, what a bunch of dorks, You'd be like the biggest geeks in the world. But now it's like the geeks rule the world, and everybody watches these movies. So it's not a big deal anymore.
Well, it's also like, I always think of it because I think if you look like 10, 15 years ago, I think Jeopardy or something like that was a lot bigger. So if you imagine like putting this on like Game Show Network or that kind of like stage and be like, how would it have grown?
I would love to see that. I think that movie and trivia things like this, I think it'd be really fun. That's I mean, one of my problems, I don't know about problems. One of the things I personally don't enjoy with like actual Schmoedown and things like that is the storylines and the kayfabe and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people enjoy that because I know that it comes from a wrestling background, and more power to you guys too. But for me, I don't really enjoy that kind of thing, and I don't mind it. I usually will just skip over the interviews and things like that into the actual match. But I think that in some cases, like in Schmodown, they've put more and more of the focus on the storylines and things at the expense of the trivia. And I don't like I said, a lot of people do enjoy that kind of thing, but I kind of wish they'd get back to basics.
Yeah. See, I sort of understand that, but to the larger extent of a lot of people are just bad at having characters, myself included, because apparently I'm not that great at the old heel game. But I think there's still the possibility there. It just comes down to find people who are good at it. And that's surprisingly hard.
Maybe that's part of it. Is I know that I'm not good at it. Although Caleb Coho seems to think that I should go full heel. I'm not sure where he gets that. I mean, I love to once in a while I'll throw out an insult here and there. But especially I was recently playing third judge behind the scenes in a match that's being played, and he was manager in it, I think. And I was just heckling behind the scenes in the private chat because you can, you're not on screen. I can say whatever I want. It doesn't matter. And and apparently everybody's like, you should go full heel. You'd be great. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Just full heel Boatman, just go heel in the league that shall not be named just to test yourself. Because heel Boatman is maybe the greatest thing that's ever existed. It's no Eli, but it's fantastic. I don't know. That's one thing I actually really liked about Multiplex Multiverse. Where it's just hey, you may not see this normally. We probably wouldn't clear it in the story department, but fuck it, let's just try it and see what happens. It creates some interesting beasts.
I would like to see more things like Multiplex Multiverse, or just things that aren't necessarily, strictly the usual leagues or the usual matchups or things like that. Because there's a lot of people you'd love to see face each other that probably never will because of rankings and things like that. You almost need to have an exhibition event where these two people would be great to watch them play each other, or there's just matches people want to see I would love to see Joseph versus Caleb because they are so similar. That would be a hell of a matchup. And maybe someday they'll be, I can see him being a title matchup, but I'm sick of waiting for it to happen. I've wanted to face Caleb Boatman for the longest time, or me versus Joseph, all of us, but I'm sick of waiting for it to happen. But there's also other people who are just, more personalities that I would love to watch play each other because it'd be fun. But, as long as it's all about rankings and things like that, it kind of prevents those from happening.
Just set yourself a goal. I will never retire until I face these people, and then you can just never retire.
Hey, or I'll set that goal and I'll suddenly get scheduled against them all in a week, and then I guess I'm done.
By the retire? Fuck. Okay, we're good.
That's what it is. The showrunners will do it just so they can get me out of here. Yeah. But that's fun. I also love when they do different kinds of matches. I know they've done the fandom Warzone 50-50 matches. Yeah. Things like that are always really fun to see a different take on it. That's why I've liked to play in a lot of stuff in Tony's league, and I'm actually planning on starting to host some things over there just because just random matches, different rules every time if we want, do whatever we want because sometimes you want to play just for fun.
Yeah, and I know it's a 50-50 divisions always interest me. Again, I am not the caliber of player that you are, most people are, but just the idea of just you put all this time into studying both leagues. Make a league where that's part of it. And again, I played the Manager Bowl, one of the few 50-50 matches we actually get in the division. Mm-hmm. And the amount of prep work and strategy going into mastering two different divisions at the same time, and one super deep strength and one not as deep strength for Warzone and Fandom in comparison, and playing two different round threes. There is so much potential there. And I would love to see it implemented more.
I don't know if I'd want to see a whole league. I mean, I'd love to see a league in terms of someplace where they constantly have these matches. I don't know if I'd want to see a competitive league, there's a 50-50 title kind of thing. But I would love to see a lot more matches in that way. And even in debate, I don't know if you really cover the debate area on your show, not very much. But I'm happy to see that they've started Multiplex, this fan zone thing, because I debated a little bit in movie battlegrounds. Before that kind of has fallen apart largely. But I never wanted to do the Nerdgasm thing because, they're going so deep into fandom and they're asking questions about, Doctor Who and anime and all this kind of stuff that I know nothing about. But now they're doing basically fandom categories and Warzone categories and you're debating those. And so, I threw my hat into that ring. And so I have a debate coming up in that. And that's going to be fun because I like to kind of mix the two worlds.
Yeah. I just really had a bad taste in my mouth because I think the last debate I was in, it was what's the best romance? What's the best romance film of the 2000s? It was Up, and I picked In the Mood for Love, and I lost because no one cared to
You
know
lost
what
because no one had heard
Interstellar
of it.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is the only problem I have with debating, because I think debating is fun, but the problem comes in the judging. And I'm not saying that there's anybody doing anything wrong. I mean, everybody's going to be affected by whatever criteria they have in their own mind. But I think the problem is sometimes just what they know and don't know, and also other times it's a matter of, I think a lot of times people will like throw a vote one way because they don't want to see somebody get completely slaughtered, pity votes, things like that. But I had pity vote basically make me lose a match. So that's kind of why I stopped playing over in Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, didn't mean to get too far in a tangent about debate. I was just talking about having the fandom and Warzone kind of worlds collide is kind of fun.
Oh yeah. Like I don't know. I'm just like we're just vibing. We're chilling.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. This, like again, the way my brain works is this just made me jump to the year in film retrospective that Aaron J is doing over on FPP.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this idea of just like, oh, here's all these obscure movies that no one's ever heard of, and I for some reason I've just been stalking Aaron's letterbox. He watches all of them. Every movie that people just recommend, it's like, oh yeah, I haven't heard of this. I'll check it out. And it's just interesting to just see like the movies people love and working like a category around it. Like this will never come up. So I'm okay with sharing it. It's like I did like intense research last night into there's a certain category, there's a certain storyboard artist. If you narrow it down to PG-13, or no, there's an actor. If you narrow it down to PG-13, he's done 8 movies and I've seen all of them. I would fucking lock that for 10 and run with it. There's like a DreamWorks storyboard artist where he's only done the good ones. I could lock that for 10, and it's. Thank you, Nazaria, for contributing.
Oh. Oh, I guess I didn't realize this was live. I thought we were recording this. Okay, cool.
Oh, no.
Hi guys. But yeah, but there's recently kind of a slippery slope with the whole strength thing, because I at one point someone was going to use, I don't know what has been shown. Someone is going to use like a
sound designer,
20th century family films by a certain sound designer.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? Are they going to let this slide? Because if that happens, oh, they're going to open the door and we're going to use this. I started looking for my next match. I'm looking at just, finding movies I like and trying to find out who they had in common and stuff. I had it down to like a Foley artist. I had a transportation coordinator. I had all kinds of weird things. I was totally going to manipulate that. But of course, then they immediately like shorted the whole thing. Oh, wait, new rules starting now. It's got to be, director, actor, writer, composer. I think a producer, I think, is in there too.
Most people above the line, basically.
Yeah. But I was a little not annoyed, disappointed. So I was like, oh man, I wanted a chance to just manipulate that once.
Actually, I'm gonna see. I might have some of these. I have a note stock full of like strengths I want to use eventually. But I totally get that, because there are things I'm just like, man, if this went through, I like Okay, so this one couldn't come up anymore because they had a rule like 4 months ago, because I think it was one of Peggy's strengths, because like post 2010's Emma Stone. I had post 2013's Amy Adams, and it's like, you can't do that. You need to limit it to the decade or the century. It's like I would love just a free reign and say, fuck it, do anything you want as long as it's quantifiable, because then you get some weird shit. It's so fun.
Well, I guess it could, but at the same time, it's like I almost would like them to see the other way. I mean, whatever they want to go with, it's fine. I'll work with it. If I got to pick a decade of somebody, I'll find something that works for that, and so on and so forth. I would almost rather see the leagues go back to, very general. Like, I can pick this actor, I can pick this director, this genre, this franchise, but without, the 2010s family film starring this person kind of thing. It's just, I mean, yes, you limit it to movies you know better, and you don't have to get the ones you don't know as well. But at the same time, if you're going to pick an actor as your strength, it should be your strength. But that's just my opinion, though. I'll go by whatever rules they decide on.
But then you can't study. Then you can't spend 30 hours watching one movie. Like, where's the fun?
But then you get to watch other movies that you wouldn't have otherwise.
I mean, true.
Actually, it's kind of fun. I mean, I've had one of the things I like about like Full Metal's Round 3 is like these movies will come up for the round 3, and you get this list of movies, and I'll watch all these movies that I haven't watched either because I didn't want to, or a lot of them I just never got around to watching, and I finally have an excuse to. And I found a lot of movies that I like that way, and I really like discovering or finally watching new movies I like, because I've seen almost everything at this point, just because I've always watched a lot of movies. I mean, obviously not everything, but most everything I'm going to watch. So if somebody recommends something and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that one, I'll usually check it out because I'm hoping to find something new.
You've inspired me. Well, I'm paying attention to you, but I'm gonna look at your letterbox and see your watch list.
Oh no. Well, my watch list, I mean, Letterboxd watch list is actually a combination of movies I actually want to watch, movies I planned or needed to rewatch for a match or something like that. It's more just my reminder list. But there are a lot of ones in there that I haven't actually watched yet that I've just never got around to. Or a lot of times it's a lot more obscure stuff, like stuff like I had no idea this person was in this movie. I'm going to try and track it down.
Yeah. Well, like even looking at, like, there's some big stuff. Like, I don't want to name names because that might start shit. But like, I think your top 10-ish, like, highest average rating, like, oh yeah, you should probably get to those. And there's other ones here and there, like, oh yeah, da, da, da. And then after I just like, oh, what the fuck? Oh yeah, that movie. Like, oh, never mind. There's one I think you need to. Like, I think your watch list is very interesting.
It's kind of all over the place because, like I said, there's many different reasons for it. Like there was a bunch of Mark Wahlberg on there because my upcoming match with Menchaca, he chose that as a strength. So I've got to rewatch a few of those that I haven't watched yet. And there's other ones like I was just reading. I don't remember where I found it out. I was reading some article. Oh, you know what? I was studying up on Anne Hathaway again for a match. And I talked about how The Hustle was a remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, but then I found out Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is a remake of this Marlon Brando, David Niven movie called Bedtime Story. I'm like, well, now I got to check that one out because I never knew that, never heard of it. Yeah. So that's how a lot of movies end up on my watch list. It's just I find out about some movie I didn't know about, and I'm like, I got to track that down.
You could just do Anne Hathaway remakes of older films. Then you could also do like the weird, like, the other version of Les Mis in the 90s that just no one cares about. Or like, could you include the Ocean films? I don't know. Maybe there's some, like, maybe Brokeback Mountain's a remake or something. I don't know. But again, weird categories you could just throw in there because why the fuck not?
You could. I mean, it's fun to be creative. I'll admit. I mean, like after they first used that 90s or 2000s sound designer guy, the first thing I did was I did like 90s Joel Silver action movies. Joel Silver produced action movies, yep. Which I could still actually use because they're still allowing producer. But it's all the kind of thing of like, I don't know how everybody else does their strengths, but I want to pick something that I know well, but I also want to try and look for my opponent's weak point. So like, if my opponent's into like the artsy independent flicks, I'm going to pick the action blockbusters that they don't know well, and even if they're the kind of person that studies, they're going to hate every minute of it. So,
I have like a back pocket strength that the first Warzone match I get back, if I get against anyone who's older than me, I'm going to throw it on them and they're going to fucking hate it. Like, it's just it's a lot of fun for me. Just like being able to like sit back, take your time, and while you're studying, just like, oh, it's 2 a.m. Let's look at this one of my favorite films and let's just see how can I connect it to other ones, and then just see the kind of weird threads you make.
I spent so much time. I mean, I was doing it while I was like, had a movie on in the background or something. But I swear I spent a couple hours just going through trying to find out different movies and okay, I like this person. Oh, we also did this one, and trying to find weird strengths and stuff like that. Of course, can't use most of them now, but it was still fun to do.
Yeah. We're about 45. I think that's a good point to wrap it up. Is there anything else you wanted to say or cover?
Nothing particular. I mean, I'm just kind of happy with the fan leagues in general. I think this past year, I think have really grown. I mean, Multiplex, I was a part of them for all last year, and I think we kind of rebuilt it into something really good. And then I stepped away from it just because it got to be too much work for me with competing in the leagues, and I was doing writing and editing and helping show run and host and things like that. And honestly, my family was getting annoyed how much time I was not spending with them. So, but then Cody and Caleb were still going strong. They brought Kirk in to help them out, and that's going well. And Full Metal's got their thing is still going strong. And then with Tony's league, I like seeing his league do well because that's kind of. And like I said, I'm going to do some things on his channel now and then, just because I like having some place where people can just play for fun too. So I'm just really happy with where the fan leagues are headed these days.
All right. I would say when people find you on social media, I don't think you have a Twitter though.
No, I mean there might be a Twitter in existence. I don't think I've actually used it. But I'm on Facebook. I'm on Letterboxd under the name Cinemaphile. Other than that, you'll find me all over here in the fan leagues, just playing, hosting panels, whatever.
Yeah. And you can find me on Twitter at TemekuFilmNerd. Film Nerd. It's at TEMEKU Film Nerd. Also, I'm gonna have a more formal conversation about it next week. But I did start my own league, dropped in this channel. Check that out. Also, an announcement about it coming next week. Just watch the match. It's also very entertaining. It's a format I love. But for Brian, for me, for Nazario in the chat, thanks for being here. Stay inside, stay safe, wash your hands. I hope you win. I hope you don't lose. I hope you get KOs. I hope you don't get KO'd. And just have a wonderful fucking day. Like, it's 4th of July coming soon. Be safe, but also just like relax. The world sucks right now. Take a deep breath, let it all roll over you, and hopefully have a good time. See you next